Hello, my name's Nigel Smalls from infraredaustralia.com.au, and today I'm going to describe some differences between our Italian-made Heliosa shortwave infrared heaters and some of the ones that are available out of China. This here is a Devanti 2400 watt shortwave heater. This sort of heater is branded many sorts and is available quite cheaply on the internet. It's made in China, but there's actually nothing wrong from a manufacturing perspective. All I'm going to do today is point out some of the differences that we would argue make our range of Heliosa shortwave infrared superior in performance. This is the Heliosa 11. When we first got the Heliosa range, we made some comparisons with what was already on the market and did some testing. And the tests we did were about range and performance of the various heaters. What we found was that this 2400 watt heater, the Devanti, had the same performance as our 1500 watt Heliosa 11. Now you might ask, why would that be? Well, what we found is quite clearly the differences. First difference is that these heaters have got bars across the front and that absorbs heat. The second is that they do not have a shiny reflector. This means that that absorbs heat as well. It doesn't reflect the heat out. Thirdly, we found that there's a little scoop, a little parabolic area. It's not quite parabolic. A little scoop into which the heater is placed. That again absorbs heat. What that means is that when you have this operating, the actual casing gets to over 100 degrees centigrade. We measured 105 degrees centigrade. And by absorbing heat into the casing, and therefore it transferring into air and rising up above, you're not getting the full effect of shortwave infrared heating. Shortwave should give you 92% plus radiant efficiency. And you can't just get that out of the bulb on its own. It needs to be combined with a reflector. The Heliosa range has got a parabolic reflector. I'll come back to that in a little bit, but this is why this 1500 watt is able to do the same performance as a 2400 watt. While its bulb is smaller, the reflector, the patented polished aluminium reflector, throws the heat away a lot more effectively. So the cover on this heater only gets to a maximum of 70 degrees. It's not heating the casing as much, so it's throwing heat out further and more efficiently. These two reflectors are small and therefore throw the heat in a relatively small range. We would be putting these, and have been putting them, into small balcony areas that don't need a lot of heat and a lot of area covered. Once you start looking at large areas to cover, that's where a 2000 watt bulb on something like a Heliosa 66, remember 2000 watts, this is still 2400 watts, will do approximately 20 square meters. The big parabolic reflector, which is unique in any of the shortwave ranges you'll find anywhere, combined with a sleek look, means that the heat is transferred further to the sides and further away from the heater. This is therefore what we recommend often for backyards and for back outdoor areas where there is no wind. Not that this will not do the job, but you might need two of these to do what one of these does, because these will do around about 10 square meters, whereas this will do up to 20. One of the differences between the Devanti and the Heliosa is on the light that comes out of them. The Devanti is a harsher colour and more glary compared to the amber of the Heliosa. This is only 1500 watt, of course, giving out the same amount of heat, but it is still the same applies when you look at the Heliosa 66, which is slightly higher, is a 2000 watt rather than 1500 watt. So that'll affect your backyard ambience by having a harsher light versus a less harsh light. So we're not saying that these sort of heaters are not an effective heater. We believe shortwave is the way to go if you're heating outdoors, because you're heating surfaces and not air. But when it comes to efficiency and style, we would argue the Heliosa range is what you should be looking at, and we're only too willing to help you assess what your needs are from the many, the 3 or 4 heaters that we have in the range, depending on what you need. For further information, please go to www.infraredaustralia.com.au or ring us at our offices. Thank you.